Hi, I'm back, and today I'd like to talk about sight reading for live auditions. This is something that stresses people out, and I personally enjoy the challenge, but I know that other people don't see it that way. And so I would like to help middle school, high school students that have an audition coming up and they need to sight read. How do you prepare? Well, there is a method, and these are the tips that I have come up with for my students, and I'd like to share them with you. So, what is sight reading? It is basically, I was going to say it was a pop quiz, but basically you know when it's going to be. So, it is playing music that you have never seen before and are most likely to never see again. It's a piece of a music. It's not an entire piece or an entire song. It is just a snippet of it. And it is not as hard as a solo that you might be working on with your private teacher that takes weeks to master. This is something that is possible to play proficiently and accurately on the first try. So this is what it is designed for. Sight reading tests your general musical skills. I'm looking from notes because I've written down so many things I want to share with you. It tests your flexibility, quick thinking, steady playing, accuracy, right? When we're under pressure, we don't always play steadily. Sometimes we rush, right? So sight reading tests all of these skills. Now, I have a few basic rules. I have 3 rules that I tell my students. The first rule is to play the ink. Obviously, you're going to be playing the notes and the rhythm, but make sure you don't ignore accents, tempo markings, and other articulations, right? That is very important. You don't want the person evaluating you to think that you just ignored them, right? So pay attention to the details and play the ink. My second rule is don't stop, right? You are going along, you're playing, and all of a sudden you come up to something that you don't recognize, a note, a high note, or it's just a rhythm. Don't stop and look at the music and squint then you've ruined the flow, right? What you do instead is you make up that note and you keep on going. You can't add beats to the music, right? So you've heard the expression, he did it without missing a beat, right? We don't want to miss a beat. We also don't want to add any beats, right? So my next rule is don't go back and fix your mistakes. So that would be called practicing and not sight reading. And your evaluator doesn't want to hear that. They want to see what you can do in one shot, right? So going back and fixing your mistakes would also be adding beats to the music. So it wouldn't be accurate, right? It's very tempting to go back and fix that B flat. That should have been a B natural, right? You want the evaluator to know, I know what that was supposed to be, but you've already ruined the flow. So don't go back and fix your mistakes. Just keep going. All right, those are my basic rules. So sight reading may look something like this. Take a look at this piece of music, and there are brackets clearly marked on the music to tell the person where to start and where to stop playing. The next part of this video will tell you what to do when you actually sit down and are about to play. So what I tell my students is when you sit down and the music is on the stand in front of you, make sure that you move the furniture so that you are comfortable and that you can see the music. You don't know who was sitting in that chair before you. They may have had great vision. Maybe they had horrible vision and the stand was too close, or maybe they had it very far away and it was a tall person. You just don't know. Make it fit for you. Don't suffer through being uncomfortable or not being able to see the music. The next thing I tell my students is to take 30 seconds. Longer than that, it just gets uncomfortable. So take 30 seconds and quickly do the following 3 things. Look for the key signature. Make sure that you find the most current key signature. Don't assume it's at the top of the page. Don't even assume it's at the left margin. Make sure that you look directly left of the bracket of where you're supposed to be playing. The second thing is to look for a tempo marking, if there is one. You may have an excerpt that is been cut and pasted onto a piece of paper and there is no clue as to how fast you should be playing it. Well, if there is a tempo marking, make sure that you know the difference between allegro and largo. The next thing that I tell my students to look for in these 30 seconds is shifting and accidentals. You might not have time to finger through this whole excerpt in your 30 seconds, but you can at least take a look to make sure you know that there is shifting coming your way or that there are accidentals coming your way so that they don't catch you off guard. Okay, so the 30 seconds are over. Let's say you take another 10 seconds, right? Locate the fastest notes in your excerpt. And you're gonna decide very quickly, how fast are you willing to play those notes? How fast are you able to play those notes? Now, I don't mean play them as fast as you can. I mean, you need to think about, what are my abilities here? I don't want to start too fast because when I come upon those fast notes, I may regret my starting tempo. So let's take a look at the excerpt that I showed you earlier. The excerpt starts with notes on every big beat. Right? Now, if I were to start that, well, what happens when I get to the second line and I have all those 16th notes? Maybe I'm not able to sight read it that fast. So that's what I mean by starting it by thinking about the fastest notes. So, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. That's how you think about your starting tempo. So, in summary, don't start faster than you are able to play the fastest part of your excerpt. Okay, now you are ready to start. Before you begin, make sure that your left hand is set and your right hand is set. I know that sounds so elementary, but some people just jump in and they don't realize their bow is 2 inches away from the string. And they focus on some very strange things when they're under pressure. So, left hand set, right hand set, count off a whole measure in your head before you start playing. You are your own conductor. You will not be surprised by the tempo if you do this. Then once you start, don't stop until you reach the end. Play confidently as if you meant everything the way it came out. Now, I've just given you a lot of information and I hope that this has helped you. I did ask some of my 8th grade students, what advice would they give somebody who was taking an audition for the first time with sight reading? And they said, Don't forget to play with feeling. Don't play like a machine. And well, that's a pretty mature comment, but it's true. We are concentrated so much on notes and rhythm, and we forget to play with emotion. That just shows an extra advanced skill level. Another 8th grader told me, well, he wishes he had started sooner preparing with sight reading. You can't cram muscle memory. You can't cram the skills that you need to think quickly and to multitask. You need to practice these skills. Now, if you don't have a teacher that can evaluate you, in a pinch, you can do it on your own. Set up a cell phone, some kind of a camera, and film yourself playing random music, and then watch it while you look at the music and make sure that you have caught all of the dynamics, the accents, the accidentals. If you don't have a teacher and you would like help with sight reading skills, feel free to contact me. My email is right below. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to send them my way. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.